The U.S. saying it is, quote, at the threshold of a landmark deal with the Taliban for a withdrawal from Afghanistan and America's longest war. Right now, a U.S. envoy is in Kabul to share details of the agreement with top officials there and discuss next steps towards a settlement for the 18-year-long conflict. Joining us now is Nile Gardiner, director of the Heritage Foundation's Margaret Thatcher Center for Freedom. Nile, good morning to you, and thank you for being here.
Sandra.
So the U.S. is at the threshold of a deal with the Taliban. What do you take away from this development?
Well, I think it's highly risky, actually, and the idea of withdrawing 14,000 U.S. forces from Afghanistan certainly carries a great deal of risk for the United States and its allies. Let's not forget, I think, that in terms of dealing with the Taliban, we are dealing with an extremely dangerous organization. They provided safe haven for the al-Qaeda attacks on the United States on 9/11. This is an organization, I think, that cannot be trusted in any way. And I think that any kind of deal with the Taliban is extremely risky, I think, for the US and for the future of Afghanistan. It's vitally important that the United States does not abandon Afghanistan in any way. We have to continue the operations against Islamist terrorist organizations, including al-Qaeda and ISIS. It is vital that we do not allow Afghanistan to become another Iraq, providing a further safe haven for Islamist terrorist organizations. So I do think that we have to be extremely careful in terms of any kind of deal with the Taliban. And it's important to note at this stage, this agreement that is being worked out with the Taliban at the moment in Doha and Qatar does not involve the Afghan government itself. The Taliban will have to have direct talks with the Afghan government later this year, probably in Norway.
Well, the U.S.
And it remains to be seen what actually comes out of those negotiations. So the Afghan government has not been directly involved in these talks.
The U.S. Special Rep for Afghanistan says he's headed to have consultations in Kabul. These discussions are going to continue. Ahead of that, he said this via Twitter: "We are at the threshold of an agreement that will reduce violence and open the door for Afghans to sit together to negotiate an honorable and sustainable peace in a unified, sovereign Afghanistan that does not threaten the U.S., its allies, or any other country." Just broadly speaking, what does this mean or tell you as far as the war on terror? Nile.
Well, the war on terror continues, and the war on terror has to continue in Afghanistan itself. And ISIS is extremely active inside Afghanistan, and we see continuing high levels of violence in the country. It is imperative that you maintain a U.S. military presence inside Afghanistan. And Afghanistan is just part of the broader global war against Islamist terrorism that continues, despite the fact that ISIS has lost almost all of its caliphate in the Middle East. ISIS continues to be a major threat to the United States and its allies, stretching from Iraq to northwest East Africa, Southeast Asia, and also the streets of Western European cities as well. So this is a global conflict that is going to continue. The United States must continue to lead on the world stage.
One we will be watching closely. Nile Gardiner, thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.